Welcome back to the news at 10. The Kwara state government may have scored a major point in the creative industry with the commissioning of a vocational, technical and entrepreneurship college. The Vice President, Professor Osinbajo, who commissioned the college, also encouraged other states in the country to establish such institutions. In 2012, the foundation was laid for the construction of a vocational college in Kwara State by the Governor, Abdul Ahmed. 5 years down the line, the institution is now being inaugurated by the Vice President, Professor Osinbajo. The Vice President believes the advent of this school would right the wrongs of the past, particularly in the employment of artisans and training of Nigerians in vocational studies.
Talented, they are ready to learn, and they are prepared to be entrepreneurial. When you come across a Nigerian young person, it's very evident. He's different from everybody else. He's driven, he's entrepreneurial, he's dynamic, and he wants to achieve things. And I think that we have to tap. I think it's so important to tap this particular attribute of the Nigerian, especially the Nigerian youth. And this project is one that will do so excellently and will bring about some of the greatest changes that we'll see in our nation.
Governor Abdul Ahmed explains that adequate funding remains the only hindrance to the sustenance of the project for it to meet international standards.
On our part, we have invested approximately 3.2 billion on campus construction, furniture fittings, partnerships, basic training equipments, and tools here at Ivy Tech. An additional 13 billion is however required to cover Ivy Tech's expansion plans in the next 5 years. We therefore seek the partnerships from local, national, and international bodies so that we can upscale Ivy Tech to the level envisaged at its establishment.
The vocational college is expected to serve as a template for other states in Nigeria for the training of artisans in special vocational skills to improve the quality and pedigree of the skilled labor in Nigeria. Residents of Zango community in Bauchi State are calling on the state government to provide jobs for its teeming youth and infrastructure for the area, which lacks in basic amenities. Although it's reported that the indigents are viewed in a negative light by residents of Bauchi State, the leaders of the community say they're trying to correct that perception.
Zango is a large community on the outskirts of Bauchi State. It's an old settlement, but due to its nearness to the metropolis, it expanded rapidly and now composes of Zango East, Zango Central, Zango West and Kainji. The community comprises different ethnic groups and religions. In this mosque, the Muslims observe their prayers. The Christians here also worship in this church, located in the community. However, whenever there are rumors of civil disturbances in Bauchi State, fingers are quick to point at the people of Zango community.
We have controlled all our youth. That's why we make some committees to control the town.
We used to consult our leaders that these things are happening. How are we going to do with regard to the problems? So they used to advise us to do this, don't do this, do that, don't do that. That's the things we used to do.
There are a large number of unemployed youth who find safe haven in this sugarcane plantation and the area around this stream in Zango West, where they are reported to indulge in social vices.
Some of them are orphans, they just grew up like that, but they are trying to get something to do, but we don't have support.
In Zango Central, most of the buildings are not constructed according to the urban development plan.
Because of the selfish interests, we don't normally take care of our brothers. We don't see the inconveniences we will cause by building anyhow.
They lack basic infrastructure and amenities.
we don't have drainages, and whenever we make sand fillings, as soon as the rain comes, it goes away. A whole community like this does not have a government primary school. We don't even have a private primary school. We don't have a health clinic.
Meanwhile, the acting permanent secretary overseeing the Ministry of Works, Lands and Housing, responding to the issue, describes the area as an unplanned community.
As a ministry, we are aware of all those developments, and we are going to approach it in a strategic manner. The traditional way is to have a review of the whole review of the whole master plan of Bauchi, but that is the traditional way of planning. And when the master plan is reviewed, those areas are captured and are planned.
The people of Zango community want the government to include them in its development plan and, if possible, help fulfill the promise made by the previous administration to construct the bypass road linking Yelwa to Inkil through Zango to Miri.
Now, various speakers at this year's International Sustainability Conference in Lagos have emphasized the need for public, private and civil society to partner in achieving sustainable development. The conference drew participants from the various sectors of the economy, and the theme for this year's conference is Partnership for Sustainable Development and Innovation.
It's the International Sustainability Conference 2017, hosted by the Lagos Business School and the First Bank Sustainability Center, taking place in Lagos. Participants and speakers are drawn from a wide range of specialization, and they have come to discuss partnership for sustainable development and innovation.
At First Bank, the passionate partnership of our people amongst themselves and with our many stakeholders has sustained us for over 120 years. As you might be aware, our impact cuts across virtually every sector of the economy.
So if I'm leveraging on existing patterns, who are those that I need to work with?
The topic, Scaling and Fostering Innovation for Socioeconomic Impact, is essayed by a panel of discussants who in varying terms echoed the need for businesses to build inclusive and sustainable business model.
It's very, very key for us to always study the society we live in, be abreast of things that are going on in the economies, and ask yourself, how do I design my idea?
The guest speaker takes on driving sustainable development through public, private, and civil society partnership in his address.
We, the economics, are very quick at calculating gross domestic product as a symptom of growth and progress. But those social variables that the ordinary man and woman needs are the questions we need to ask. And those are the answers we need behind the numbers. And those are the vehicles of sustainable development.
The conference is done, and for the organizers, there are takeaways.
A few years ago, we had the Millennium Development Goals. Nigeria did not meet its own quota. Now that we have the Sustainable Development Goals, there's a need for the private sector and government to work collectively to make sure that we achieve those goals.
At the end of this conference, participants at the conference will walk away from here with a clearer understanding of the role that they have to play in the attainment of those goals, and will work assiduously to achieve them.
Much has been said, chief of which is if businesses truly care for the people and the environment, the much sought after growth will come calling.
Let's take a look at some business news for the day. Here's Imana Amawe.
You first. First Bank.
Hello and welcome to Business News. Hong Kong is intensifying efforts to actualize the Chinese Economic Integration Program, known as the Belt and Road Initiative, in Nigeria. At an outreach seminar with the organized private sector in Lagos, representatives of the government present Hong Kong as the gateway to advancing the program. Our business correspondent, Temple Ashaju, has a report.
Nigeria and China have a 46-year-old bilateral relation valued at $100 billion as of August this year. The needs to sustain the relationship, as done with some 64 other economies, gave rise to the Belt and Road Initiatives, a development strategy unveiled by China's paramount leader, Xi Jinping, in 2013.
Those project owners.
A plan of action that the Hong Kong Trade Development Council is leveraging for partnership at this meeting.
Through the plentiful of Belt and Road Initiative, Nigeria can opt more opportunities to strengthen its infrastructure, diversify its economy, and integrating itself into the world economy.
The Regional Director for Middle East Africa, Mr. Perry Fung, presents the microeconomic opportunities involved in making inroads to mainland China through Hong Kong.
Hong Kong is one of the world's most important destination and source of investment, both destination and source, inward and outward. So whenever you want to attract investment or you want to invest into some other country, you are very welcome.
In line with the Nigerian government's vision, domestic players want local value addition.
Because we believe that it is in that process that you can create jobs, that you can generate the right kind of multiplier effect, that you can build an economy that is inclusive.
We are all the more happy to collaborate with the financial sectors and the banking sector in Nigeria, for example, to better serve their clients and to promote their clients' projects.
Hong Kong is known as the economic nerve center for the Asian and global markets. An extension of the Belt and Road program to Nigerian entrepreneurs is expected to be a game changer. Temple Ashaju, Channels Television News.
Despite a negative market breadth and muted performance from the oil and gas and industrial goods sector, Nigeria's equities markets managed to close positive today. Anwar Wodo has more.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. The local equities market recovered slightly from the 0.52% drop recorded earlier on Tuesday by 0.02% and added just 7 billion naira to the equities capitalization at the close of trading today. The weak rebound comes on the back of around 0.20% gain contributed by consumer goods, banking and insurance sectors, while the oil and gas and industrial goods sectors remained unchanged. GlaxoSmithKline's 9.70% price loss puts it ahead of 22 other losers, while Unilever led 15 other gainers with a 5.69% price increase. Now, overall, volume transactions increased by nearly 37% to 331.24 million in 3,231 transactions against the previous session, with Union Bank as the most actively traded stock with over 70 million shares traded for Wednesday. That's the Stock Market Report. I'm Anne Nwawadu.
Black Friday kicks off the most important season for retailers in the United States. With more on what Americans are expected to spend ahead of the 2017 holiday season is the VOA Channel's TV business correspondent, Joe Malandrino from the NASDAQ market site in New York. And well, moving on now, Asian stock markets surged to record highs with the Hang Seng Index climbing above the 30,000 level for the first time on a decade today, following the rally from U.S. market in Tuesday's session. Meanwhile, it's mostly a negative close for other top global markets as investors await minutes of the U.S. Fed's meeting held earlier this month. And that's business news tonight. I'm Imana Amawe. It's back to Ijoma.
You first. First Bank.
Thanks, Imana. Still ahead on the news at 10, Chelsea beat Qarabag to secure a spot in the knockout phase of the UEFA Champions League. That's on sports. Do stay with us.